The NFL calendar has scrolled down to the stretch drive, and with the playoff puzzle now taking form, two unheralded teams are fitting in convincingly. A matchup of two hungry, young, surprising playoff contenders, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 7-4, 8-4, and the New York Giants 7-4-1 meet before a sellout crowd at Giant Stadium. And we know about the Tampa Bay weather jinx, which has stymied them. They've never won when the temperature was 42 degrees or less. It's 45, whatever that means today. As we welcome you to Giant Stadium, along with Matt Millen, I'm Dick Stockton. And who would have thought that at this stage of the race, hard to believe, really, that the Bucs and the Giants have so much at stake in the game today, Matt.
Well, when you look at them for where they came a year ago, you'd say that. But if you looked at their team and how they're constructed, specifically with that defense, then you have a better feel for them. Because I got to tell you, any team that I've ever been on that did anything, 4 Super Bowls and championships, you always start with a solid defense, and both these teams have that.
Now, the Bucs have never won in New York against the Giants or Jets in 9 previous games. And whenever you talk to any of the coaches, including Jim Fossil, they keep on saying they're mirror images of one another. Do you agree?
Yes, I do. To be honest with you, they both play solid defense. They both play conservative offense. They don't put themselves in a bad position, and they hand the football off, which is interesting because Charles Wade's really having himself a really good year. And then Mike Allstott on the other side. And when you get a game like this, and they do mirror each other, and defenses is big plays become a factor. And for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have a guy in Warwick Dunn who can make big plays.
He sure can. And right now down on the field with Tony Dungy, the Bucs head coach, is Curt Menefee. Curt?
All right, Coach, what's it going to take for your team to succeed, and what's a big conference game for you coming off a tough loss last week in Chicago?
Well, the Giants are playing really well. We've got to take care of the football, not turn it over, and we've got to find a way to stop their running game.
All right, good luck to you today, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, onward and upward to Dick Stockton. Dick?
All right, Curt, thank you very much. And if he asked Jim Fossil, he probably would say the same thing. We'll have the late scores for you when we return to Giant Stadium. And here are the early scores bringing you up to date. The Washington Redskins are trailing the St. Louis Rams by 7. That's a big game in the fourth quarter. The Eagles now lead 41-35 over Cincinnati, still with their playoff hopes alive. New Orleans leading Carolina. And the big shocker today, Kansas City 44-9, a thumping of the San Francisco 49ers. Elsewhere, the Bills defeated the Jets, and Jacksonville leading Baltimore, and the New England Patriots defeated Indianapolis. That is a final score. So we're set now for the kickoff. The Giants have won the toss, and there you see the temperature.
Oh, see, now here's 50.
Right.
Here's 40, 42. See, 42 degrees is where they haven't won a game below that. The problem is it's going to just keep on going. Now, all that proves is that they've won at 43 degrees.
Michael Houston kicking off, and Eric Pegram returning for the Giants. And Pegram brings it out to the 17-yard line. And let's bring out the Giants offense. Danny Cannell, who is 4-1-1 as a starter in his second year. The offensive line, and they'll be under pressure today. Obin, Bishop, Lance Scott, the center, Ron Stone, and Scott Cragg. Tyrone Wheatley and Charles Way. Way's had a big year. Callaway and Alexander, the wide receivers, and Howard Cross is the tight end. Giants begin from the 18. And a pass on first down. And the pass downfield is caught by Callaway. Callaway gets by Donnie Abraham and is close to midfield on the opening play of the game. That was good for 26 yards.
You know, all Jim Fossil talked about the last few days is we've got to get big plays. And when you're playing basically against a zone team, the way you can get them is running crossing routes. And when you're Chris Callaway and you're the best receiver, he's got to come up big in the passing game.
And as Jim Fossil will tell you, the pass will set up the run very often. First down at the 45, and running up the middle is Tyrone Wheatley. He gets a big hole and gets nearly 9 yards on the play. Defensively for the Buccaneers up front, Reagan Upshaw, Warren Sapp, Brad Culpepper, and Chidi Ahanatu. Brooks, Nickerson, and Porter all have great speed at linebacker. And the secondary, Anthony Parker and Donnie Abraham at the corners, Charles Mincy and John Lynch, who's quite a hitter, at the safety. Second down and 1. And the carry up the middle, Charles Way, and he's got a first down to the Tampa Bay 43.
The thing that's impressed me about the Giants this year is that man right there, Jim Fossil, because he came in here to New York with the promise of making big plays and changing the offense. He had Tiki Barber, he had Hilliard, he had guys who could make big plays. Then they lost him, and they started to play good defense, and he changed his philosophy.
And Tiki Barber, who was questionable with a hamstring injury, is in the backfield. There's a screen pass to Barber, and Barber picks up about 7 yards. The play blown dead, and Brad Culpepper making the tackle.
You see that right there with Hardy Nickerson coming out. Now that's a combination of Tiki Barber and also the field. Because the field, this is new turf here in Giant Stadium. But it's also a turf that's kind of slippery when it's wet. And all the players for the Bucs were out there trying to figure out which shoes to wear.
Here is Barber on the handoff going left. And Barber very close to the first down, brought down by Derek Brooks as the Giants starting off quickly. And a 26-yard pass play to Callaway on the first play.
Yeah, you see that right there?
Yep.
Here's rule number 1 whenever you're playing on the road and you don't know the field. You go right to their starting running back and you look at the shoes he's wearing. And he will always know his home field. And then once you see what he's got, that's what you put on your feet.
Maybe a little late now to change.
Now you can always adjust. You know, you go out there with a couple of options. Always. I remember Walter Payton in Soldier Field one year. We were out there and we came out and all we did is stood around and looking at his feet. He says, "What are you guys doing?" He said, "Trying to figure out what you're going to wear."
Because he would know. Giants got a first down and an adjustment on the clock. Thus the delay. There is Tony Dungy. Both Tony Dungy and Jim Fossil, prime candidates for NFC Coach of the Year with their team's performance this year. First down on the 33. Here is Tiki Barber. And Barber picks up about 3 yards on the play, bothered by the hamstring pull. And it was Barber and Ike Hilliard who were supposed to give the Giants that speed that Jim Fossil was looking for early in the year.
And Dick, and that's what I was talking about here about the change of philosophy. I think that's a sign of good coaching. When you know what you have and you want to go a certain direction, but it's not there. So you shift gears and you use what you have.
Wheatley and Way in the backfield. It'll be 2nd and 7. Cannell, he's going deep for Alexander and overthrows him. Donnie Abraham was covering downfield, and that will bring up 3rd down and long.
Yeah, he had to be patient. He had to be able to stand in the pocket because the Bucs were coming with a little bit of a rush, and he did have time to be able to set his feet and throw, even though Rufus Porter got a push on him afterwards. It was nice patience of just standing inside.
The Giants have the 3rd fewest points in the NFL on opening drives this year, only 6. They face 3rd down and 7 and 3 wide receivers. Cannell out of the shotgun. Here comes pressure from the secondary. Alexander trying to get to the sticks. Won't make it. He'll be about 3.5 yards shy. And the Giants, with 4th down, have a decision.
I think in a game like this, when you're going to have defenses kind of rule the day, you got to start to look at what your offense, when they're going to have an opportunity to get something.
And they're going to go for it on 4th down. It is 4th and 2, and the Giants taking the first gamble of the game.
Yeah, I think here's the reason why. I think Jim Fossil has in his mind that that's a pretty good Tampa defense. And on this opening drive, he's got things moving along pretty well.
Ball is on the Tampa Bay 25. And the clock is going to run down in a 5-yard penalty, so maybe they were trying to draw them off, obviously.
See, now, if you watch Terry Bradshaw in the pregame show, he was talking about hard counts and trying to get a group jump off sides. And you also heard Howie Long talking about what to look for, and that was a dead key right there. As soon as you come up to line of scrimmage.
Offense, 5 yards, still 4th down.
So the Giants unable to induce the Bucs to jump. thus giving them a first down. Will attempt a field goal here. A 48-yarder, it appears, for Brad D'Aloiso. D'Aloiso missed his one attempt in Washington last week of 54 yards. He had hit 11 in a row prior to that miss. Brad Maynard, the punter, will do the holding.
That shows a lot of confidence in your kicker when you say, look, I'm going to move it back 5 yards because I think you can make it.
In the rain. D'Aloiso's kick, and he hooks it left. And the Giants, who looked so impressive on the opening drive, come up with nothing. And that's been their story on opening drives this year. Bucs take over when we come back. Tampa Bay Buccaneers with their first offensive play. Fumble, and a fumble as Warrick Dunn gets the handoff.
You know, Zeke, we were talking about the kick and taking that chance. I want you to watch right down here. I want you to watch his foot. Just as he's about to kick that thing, it looks like he got as much turf as he does ball. Watch his toe. See that right there? You see that gave a little bit of clear? Right there. See the toe? Right? Come down and bing. He hits the turf, and so that's what causes him to hook it this way.
Golfers would say he hit it fat.
Kickers would say they missed it.
All the same. 2nd and 11 after the loss of 1 yard and a penalty.
Hey, they must tell you what, both of these quarterbacks must have watched Bradshaw on the pregame show because they're going with the hard count. And I think that's smart. That's smart football.
Dale Hamer is our referee today.
Encroachment on the defense. The nose tackle. 5 yards.
Still 2nd down, and here are the offensive lineups for the Buccaneers. Trent Dilfer has not thrown an interception in more than 5 games, and that's a franchise record. Paul Gruber, the veteran, up front at left tackle for the Buccaneers offensive line. Dunn, the big threat, the wild card, according to Matt. Riddell Anthony and Carl Williams playing in place of Horace Copeland as wide receiver. 2nd down and 6, and here is Warrick Dunn up the middle. And Dunn will have a first down at midfield with Sam Garnes making the tackle. A gain of 9 for Warrick Dunn. The Giants, the story of them have been their off defense. Bernard Holsey is playing defensive end. Hamilton, Harris, and Strahan. The linebackers, Miller, Whitmer, and Jesse Armstead having a big year. Jason Sehorn and Felipe Sparks at corner. Tito Wooten and Sam Garnes at safety. First down in midfield. Trent Dilfer throwing for the first time and over the head of Riddell Anthony, bringing up 2nd down.
The strength of this New York Giant defense, to me, is their defensive line. And then, so to counter that, if you're going to be an offensive player for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 3 guys have to play well. Diaz, the right guard, Mayberry, their center, and Pine, their left guard. Those inside 3, if they can get the job done today against those tackles, will go a long way into telling who wins this game.
Dave Moore is the tight end, and the handoff. Warrick Dunn, nothing doing. No gain on the play. Michael Strahan was the first to get to him, and as you talk about the offensive lines, going in, the defenses have the edge up front.
Yeah, they really are. And when you see Michael Strahan right there, was really having himself a good year. And I'm going to tell you something. Michael Strahan is a function of his 2 inside players. I think Robert Harris has probably had the most consistent year all the way through from beginning to end. And then Hamilton picked it up, and then Strahan really started playing well.
3rd down and 10. 3 wide receivers lined up to the right. Dilfer stepping up, and the pass intended for Rob Thomas in and out of his hands, and that'll bring up 4th down, and the Buccaneers will kick.
Nice coverage down the field, but I got to tell you something, a good job by the offensive line. Nice job of the offensive line, and that bodes well for Trent Dilfer in the passing game.
Sean Landetta, who kicked for the Giants for 8.5 years, signed in midseason. Amani Toomer back deep, has already returned 1 for a touchdown this year. Landetta with a short kick, and it bounces at the 22 and is still rolling and finally drops at about the 15. So each team has had the ball once. No score in the first quarter at Giant Stadium. Brad Dalowiso missed the 48-yard field goal the first time the Giants had the ball. Cannell looking to throw again, goes downfield, it's tipped. And let's see if it was picked off. It was intended for Callaway, and
that's a nice job by Hardy Nickerson. Real nice job by Hardy Nickerson. That's one of the benefits you get out of these linebackers for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because they have the speed. You watch Hardy right down inside, 56. Watch him. He's going to turn and undercut the receiver. And then he's going all the way. And because he ran underneath, he forced that ball to be high.
Charles Mincy very nearly had an interception. Here's the pitch to Wheatley. Tyrone Wheatley gets good yardage. Will bring up 3rd and about 5. And Warren Sapp making the tackle with nearly 7.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. No score, and we expect this to be a low-scoring game.
There, what's going to be a nice matchup all day long if the Giants continue to run that outside stuff is John Lynch, the strong safety, taking on Charles Way. You know, that is just a collision waiting to happen. Neither of them are going to back down from it.
4 wide receivers line up for the Giants, who have the total yards edge so far. And 4 flags go down.
Bishop jumped, and then somebody decided to come inside, and then Bishop said, you know what, if I'm going to jump, I'm going to wax you. That's the funny thing about this league, boy. You don't get a head
78
up.
offense. 5 yards.
Watch Bishop right here. He's going to jump. Now watch. He's going to jump, and then, oh, okay, now Culpepper comes off, and Bishop says, forget it, I'll take my shot. Boom, hits him right in the side.
So far, the best hit in the game have happened with the clock out. So it's 3rd down and 9 following the penalty on the 18-yard line. Cannell still on his feet and then throws the ball out of bounds. He almost went down. Good pressure by Brad Culpepper, and Cannell wisely threw it away instead of taking the sack. And 4th down coming up, and the Giants will kick.
Well, Brad Culpepper got some help from the secondary, because what they did, they went 5 under and 2 deep, and there was no place to throw the football. When you start looking to one side, there's nothing there. Then you look to Patton on the other side, there's nothing there because the backer's underneath. And then Culpepper missed 2 sacks on 1 play.
Brad Maynard will kick inside the 5, and Carl Williams is back deep for the Buccaneers. Good kick by Maynard sends Williams back to his 32. Carl Williams with a return close to midfield. Sam Garnes making the tackle, so the Buccaneers have good field position despite the 50-yard punt by Maynard.
Brandon Sanders, first thing you have to do if you're one of those guys outside is you have to have a plan. And his plan obviously did not work, because they just take him and get him into the sideline. The other thing is he has a pulled groin. He was testing it early to see how it felt. You don't get healthy doing that.
Yeah, we had a heavier rain when the game started. Now it's just a slight drizzle as the Bucs begin from their own 49-yard line. And the handoff is to Warrick Dunn, and Warrick Dunn doesn't get much, a couple of yards on the extra effort. Warrick Dunn, a very productive first 6 games this year, went over 100 yards 3 times, but in the last 6 weeks has been unable to get on track.
Well, but you still, he's their only real legitimate big play guy. You watch Warrick Dunn, and you can see that he has some big plays in him, and you hold your breath every time he gets his hands on the ball.
2nd down and 7, and they go back to Warrick Dunn, and Dunn does a good job of getting close to the 1st down. Corey Miller grabbed hold, but Dunn grabbed Miller.
That's a 1st down. The one thing that Tampa has not wavered on, and I think this speaks to their coaching and Tony Dungy, is they have a plan and they're patient with it, and they stay with it, and they want to try to stay in 3rd and short and not have to put themselves in a position for Trent Dilfer to have to win it by himself.
Last week against Chicago, they fell behind because of turnovers. and they could not run the ball much. First down on the 41 of the Giants. And Dilfer looking to throw, and his pass wide open to Dave Moore, the tight end, and Moore is undercut by Tito Wooten, and a gain of 27 yards.
Dick, this is speaks as much to the running game and their play action as it is protection. See, they go play action, they get everybody biting hard inside, and then Dave Moore just comes down and they use that against him. Because your backers and everybody are so aggressive up front, you can sneak them behind.
So the Buccaneers with a threat. First down on the 15-yard line. 5th in the NFL in red zone offense. Two tight end formation for Trent Dilfer, and his pass underneath to Allstott, handling the ball for the first time, gets inside the 10-yard line. Sam Garnes, the tackle, but a fine gain of about 7 or 8 on first down.
Mike Allstott is not a fullback. I mean, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. When they start talking about the fullbacks in the league, you really shouldn't consider Mike Allstott a fullback, because what he is, he's a featured back. He's 250 pounds, he runs well, catches the ball well, and he's not a very good blocker, but he's getting better.
But he's not a fullback.
No, he's not.
Second down and 2. Here is Allstott trying to break away from Jason Sehorn, and he can't, and that will bring up third down, a loss of 2 on the play.
That's a gutsy call by John Fox, the defensive coordinator of the Giants. He goes, you're going to take Jason Sehorn, you're going to see him. See, and this has to be the last read for the quarterback. And because it's a run, he doesn't really have to look back out there, but what happens is the corner becomes unaccounted for, and you get your clean shot.
Warwick Dunn comes out of the game. 2 tight ends for the Bucs on 3rd and 4. Trent Dilfer drills it, and it's intercepted by Felipe Sparks.
That's 6,
and
boys.
it's a foot race. Trent Dilfer is there, and he slows up Sparks, enabling John Davis to come around and make the play. But a big play for the Giants.
Hey, Trent Dilfer showed me something there. Trent Dilfer had some speed. I thought Sparks was going to take it to the house. But I want you to watch this transition. First of all, the ball was right there, and I think because it was slippery, it came off the hands of Williams. Then watch Dilfer. Dilfer does a great job of taking the right angle and heading it off at the pass. He doesn't make the tackle, but he makes the play. That's a great job of hustle and good geometry. He knew his angles.
Carl Williams was the intended receiver, a 69-yard return by Sparks. First down at the Tampa Bay 27. Cannell with time, and his pass intended for Charles Way is incomplete. Sparks had 2 interceptions last Sunday night against the Redskins in the 7-7 tie, and so he now has 3 in 2 games, and we still have 2:54 remaining in the first quarter of this one.
You know, actually, that was a nice ball thrown by Dilfer. It was right in his hands, but it's a great effort of forcing that play.
Tyrone Wheatley on 2nd and 10 cuts inside of the 25, and of course that ended the long string of Trent Dilfer, who went more than 5 games without throwing a pick.
You know what? All the people in Tampa, when you read that thing, they all said they just jinxed him.
Yep.
Guarantee you jinxed the guy. One of the things that's been talked about with this Tampa Bay defense is nobody's physically challenged them going right at him. And that's what the Giants trying to get done today because they have a big physical offensive line.
Third down and 8 from the 25, and pressure up the middle on Cannell, and this pass is caught by David Patton, and the Giants have a first down at about the 14.
Nice job by 2 people. Danny Cannell saw it quick, and Tiki Barber did a good job of giving one up for the Gipper. I mean, he stepped up inside and took on the blitzing backer, took it right in the face, and believe me, it hurt. And his brother Rondé's on the other sideline going, nah, what are you doing?
Rondé inactive today. First and 10 at the 15-yard line. Here is Wheatley with Charles Way blocking, and Wheatley gets to the 10-yard line where Hardy Nickerson makes the tackle.
There's some good contact going on down there. When the Giants are playing well with this offense, they get that running game going. And they're not a real speed team per se. They don't really like to get to the outside. They like to stay between the tackles. That's what their offensive line does best.
Alexander and Callaway wide left on 2nd and 5. And now Wheatley goes in motion, and a wraparound draw play fizzles. And the stop at the 15. Charles Wade tackled immediately at the 15-yard line, and the Giants lose 5.
I want you to watch Warren Sapp come blowing right up inside. Just what he does really well. Warren Sapp is big, but not too big at 285. But he's real quick, and he can be physical. And what I like about him is he plays smart, and he knows the game, and he's getting better. And I think his talent is only outdone by his personality. What a great personality he has.
He bubbles over with personality. He's a kind of a leader, and only in his first few years in the league. 3rd down and 10. Cannell getting pressure, is hit as he lets go, and the pass is intercepted by Brooks, and now they rule an incompleted pass.
That was on Warren Sapp, Dick. Warren Sapp made that play. Oh, no, that's a pick.
Now they do rule an interception.
Yeah, he's got his foot right there on that 9.5-yard line. But this whole thing is Warren Sapp. Sapp, they're running a stunt to the top side, and he fights right through it. And because he draws the blockers, Upshaw is able to get there, and then the pick on the other side by Derek Brooks.
And a clear interception by Brooks. We'll be right back.
And watch how Sapp takes on both blockers. He goes with a stunt, attacks them both. See, they both are right here. That allows Upshaw to come out. And then he also forces Cannell out of the pocket where Upshaw can finish it off.
18 seconds remaining in the first quarter, and the Buccaneers get it back. 1st down on the 10-yard line. Warwick Dunn trying to go outside is hit by Corey Miller, and nothing there. And right now for McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at our Fox Television Center in Hollywood.
Dick and Matt, some wild finishes. A shootout in Philadelphia ended with this Chris Bonio 31-yard field goal. 2-point victory over Cincinnati. Washington loses to the Rams thanks to Jeff Wilkins' 25-yard field goal. Eagles and Washington tied. Muddled playoff picture in the East. Back to Dick and Matt.
And the NFC East tightens up. That's the end of the first quarter. We're here at Giant Stadium. Dick Stockton along with Matt Millen. No score. Each team has had an interception. And the Buccaneers have a 2nd down and 9 on their 11-yard line. And a play-action fake. Dilfer from inside his 5 completes it to Carl Williams, and that will be enough for a Bucs 1st down.
You know, the one guy who's playing pretty well through this first quarter has been Odin, number 70, working on Michael Strahan. And they're putting him out there all by himself against arguably one of the better pass rushers in this league. And that's a matchup they had to win. And when they get that thing working, it gives them time to throw. Dilfer can sit in there and make the completion.
John Davis comes in as a 2nd tight end. Jackie Harris has had a groin injury, and he's been unable to play so far. 1st and 10 at the 21. Dilfer looking to throw again, and he's going deep downfield. And Khalife Sparks has picked off another one. Carl Williams, the intended receiver, and Sparks with 2 picks last week and already 2 today.
Watch how Sparks plays this. He's going to hold the outside. They're trying to give him the middle of the field, which he does. And then Carl Williams just never runs away. He had to run this way. And the ball needed to be thrown where he could run to. He flattened it out, and Sparks made the adjustment.
Back here at Giant Stadium, we've had 3 turnovers already in the game, 2 by Tampa Bay. And the Giants get the ball back. Tyrone Wheatley picks up a couple.
And I want you to watch. This is almost set up perfectly. They go with the play action inside. Safety bites real hard, which opens the middle of the field. And now all you have to do is throw the ball up here. See, he throws it this way instead of this way. And because he throws it deep to the middle of the field, Sparks is able to beat Williams by gaining some ground. Had it been thrown to where no one was, you had a big completion.
2nd down and 8. Charles Way in the middle of the line and stopped by Reagan Upshaw. So Felipe Sparks with 5 interceptions on the season, but 4 coming in the last 2 games.
And the other guy, who obviously he's picked his game up, Felipe Sparks, and part of that on the corner is just having opportunities. When somebody throws the ball, if you don't get balls thrown that way, you're not going to make plays. But you also have to be able to make the play when the situation presents itself, and he's done that.
3rd down and 4. Again, out of the shotgun, Cannell getting pressure from behind, and this pass is short. It was intended for Pegram. So, and a flag is down. Penalty marker. And it will be a holding penalty against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Defense, number 31, 5 yards, first down.
And that gives the Giants a first down. Floyd Young, an undrafted rookie, was holding in the backfield in the secondary, so the Giants get new life.
Hey, the bad part about that, it was away from the ball, and it wasn't even close.
Tampa Bay has avoided critical penalties like that during the year. So the Giants with a first down on their 43. And Cannell looking to throw again. And his pass, Callaway's got it. And out of bounds at the 39-yard line. A first down and a gain of 18. Cannell hitting Callaway in Tampa Bay territory. Well, the importance of this game, the Giants a division leader right now. And with the Redskins losing and the Eagles winning, the Giants can open up a 2-game lead in the division. But there are the other playoff teams. Minnesota right now the first wild card. Tampa Bay right now would be the second in their tiebreaker, and the Detroit Lions winning Thanksgiving move into the picture more.
Keep your eyes on Detroit. They got that offense moving pretty well right now.
Charles Way trying to go off the right side and doesn't get much. Chidi Ahanatu was the first to get to him.
The other guy who always shows up for that Tampa Bay defense, nobody mentions his name, is Brad Culpepper. And that's a player who's they've tried to replace a few years in a row, and every time they've done it, the guy can't replace him because Culpepper plays so hard, and he's a real smart guy.
An entire defensive front having career years in sacks. Warren sat very close to that. 2nd down and 10. Toomer went in motion for the Giants, and Cannell will swing it out to Charles Way, and Ahanatu grabs a hold of him, and that will bring up a 3rd down and long for the Giants. No score early still in the second quarter.
Well, you see where Chidi Ahanatu was out in the flat, and the reason was they're giving you all kinds of different looks inside. And that time they dropped Culpepper and Ahanatu off. So they'll bring him back there, and all they're doing is they're attacking protections. And you heard the center at the end go, no, base. That is protection calls inside. Listen up.
Third down and 8. Here comes pressure from the outside, and another interception by the Buccaneers. Donnie Abraham picks it off and brings it back close to midfield. So Danny Cannell with his 2nd interception, as Trent Dilfer has thrown 2.
And look who they bring. They're bringing Anthony Parker, 27, off the corner, right to his face, forces the bad throw. Again, attacking protection.
He's a different kind of guy. He can be tough when he has to, and he is reading the riot act to his offense right now. So the Buccaneers trying to take advantage of a turnover. First down on their 44-yard line, and Mike Allstott. Giants have been effective in shutting down the run, and that time it was Corey Widmer, the middle linebacker.
And he got a young quarterback in Danny Cannell, so this is what the Bucs are doing. So they're going to bring this guy off the corner. It's just a matter of numbers. You see the back is offset. There's nobody to the top side to be able to pick him up. And that is putting the onus on the quarterback to know your protections.
Oh, look at this story. Coming in, the Giants had the fewest turnovers, and the Buccaneers second fewest in the NFL. Already, there have been 4 in the game.
Well, you said they were a mirror image of each other. They're trading off 2 picks to 2 picks.
That way, too. 2nd down and 11. Dilfer with the quick toss, and it's caught by John Davis And it'll bring up third down and about 10 as the Giant defense continues to spark the team as they've had all year. Corey Miller with his second play in a row.
I'm going to watch Warrick Dunn. You know what kind of a runner he is. He's pretty tough inside, has the speed for big plays. But sometimes we're talking protection. You've got to take on the big guy. And he does an excellent job of taking on Michael Strahan. Heck, he looks like David and Goliath out there.
Third down and 9. Dilfer has time.
Big play.
His pass to Warrick Dunn as he beats the defender. Warrick Dunn rolled out of bounds inside the 5-yard line, and the dangerous Warrick Dunn found some open spaces and a gain of 53 yards.
Dick, you know what happened? They tried to pull Michael Strahan off to cover Warrick Dunn, and you can't do that. I want you to watch Strahan up top, 92. What happens? They get the protection they need, and then Dilfer does a nice job of seeing the field, and he saw the mismatch. You can't expect Michael Strahan to take Warrick Dunn. I mean, that's just not going to happen. One little push, and then it's turned into a big play.
That is the third longest pass play of the year for the Buccaneers, who have a first and goal at the Giant 2. And Allstott, the first back through, and he gets to about the 1.
You could hear that hit all the way up here.
Yes.
You know, I think what happens sometimes is when you start wanting to create, I'm talking about this again, attacking protection. You start wanting to attack so much, you have to lose things to the other side.
Here are the sounds of the game right here.
Nice hit. Nice hit inside. That's good, solid football. But what happens is you start trying to attack one side and you end up with a guy like Strahan in a mismatch.
Second and goal, and the handoff is to Eric Redd, who has had a big year in the past, but a forgotten man for the Buccaneers, and he doesn't get anything, and that will bring up third down and goal.
Well, that's the Barry Sanders rule right there. Saying if you have a guy who can make such big plays, and he can do so many things, why do you take him out and put him on the sideline and replace him with somebody else?
And Warrick Dunn went to the sidelines, and he is still there as we have third and goal coming up. And this will be a pass play to Allstott. Touchdown, Tampa Bay.
That is awful tough coverage and a nice play call by Mike Shula, the offensive coordinator. You take 2 body shots inside, and you get the defense ready, and they tighten their stomach because you're not going to take another one. And then you go play action right at them, and your coverage has to bite. I mean, you have to bite. And then you just slip it out into the back, into the side, and it's 6 points. That is really tough to cover.
For Mike Allstott, his third touchdown reception of the year and his 9th TD overall, which is why he is a Pro Bowl favorite for a fullback position. Here it's Michael Houston with the extra point. It's good. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, taking advantage of the interception by Donnie Abraham, get into the end zone and lead the Giants 7-0. Interception of the year to lead the Buccaneers, and it results in a 7-0 lead as Mike Allstott with the 1-yard touchdown catch. The key play was the pass from Dilfer to Warrick Dunn, 53 yards to set it up. Short kickoff by Houston, and it's fielded by Eric Pegram, and Pegram brings it out to the 32-yard line. Well, today's Aflac trivia question: the Giants have played in 15 playoff games over the last 16 seasons. How many did they play in the previous 17 years? And we'll have the answer coming up.
I wanted to show you how hard this is. Jackie Harris right here coming off, and he's looking for anybody inside who's going to take Allstott. When he sees nothing, he just clears, and then Allstott is back outside.
Giants with a first down on their 33, and the pitch to Tyrone Wheatley, and Rufus Porter makes the tackle after a gain of about 3. And right now, for a McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at our Fox Television Center in Hollywood. JB?
Dick and Matt, big day for Spider-Man Andre Rison of Kansas City. Take a look. Gannon hooks up with him on this beautiful 29-yard pass play. Kansas City spanked San Francisco. Worst loss since 1986. Back to you guys.
Are you that surprised?
No, I'm not. To be honest with you, I think that's the first team San Francisco has played that had something.
Tyrone Wheatley trying to go outside. Hardy Nickerson chases him down. That'll bring up 3rd down and 7.
And this is what I was talking about. When the Giants are running well, they're running straight ahead. When they get outside, especially against this Tampa Bay defense that really flows well, it's going to be tough to get to the corner.
Remember, the Buccaneers have never won facing either the Giants or the Jets here in New York or the New York metropolitan area. They come back in 2 weeks to face the Jets right here.
Jets got a lot of guys banged up today.
Yes, they did. 3rd down and 8. The pressure coming in, and Alexander hit immediately as he makes the play. John Lynch. And you talked about how Lynch would be lurking close to the line, man.
Yeah, he would. And then I'm going to tell you something about John Lynch. He's like a heat-seeking missile. Once he sees the play and it's computed, he goes 100 miles an hour to hit it. And he reminds me of Van McElroy from the Raiders years ago, where he has no regard for himself. He just throws himself in there.
Brad Maynard will be kicking to Carl Williams with 6:04 and the clock running, remaining in the second. And another fine kick by the rookie Brad Maynard. Williams inside his 15. And he goes down shy of the 25-yard line. That was a 50-yard kick by Maynard, his second of the game of that distance. We'll be right back. Seven to nothing with 5 minutes and 44 seconds remaining in the second quarter.
I think, remember, the last time they had that big play, to continue that thought, sometimes you outsmart yourself. And Warwick Dunn is in there, and you have Michael Strahan, you expect him to cover him. That's not good. You're trying to make a big play, and you're attacking the protections, but sometimes they end up hurting you.
You said at the outset that the wild card in this game could be Warwick Dunn, and thus far, he is. There's Dave Brown, the Giant quarterback who got hurt, giving Danny Cannell the chance, and he's all right to play now and is the backup in this game. Right now, we'll take a timeout. We'll be back to Giant Stadium in just a moment.
So,
first down, Tampa Bay on their 24. Dave Moore, the tight end, moving, and the pass caught by Moore, and a gain of about 5.
There's Tiki Barber trying to keep warm on the sideline. Either that or he thinks he's out of shape, got to lose a bit of the gut.
I don't think so.
No, you know, he has a hamstring, and you can try to put heat packs on it and all that stuff, but the only thing that keeps it going is the blood flowing. And so he'll come to the sideline and he'll jump on that bike.
And his twin brother, Rondy Barber, who might have been activated, not playing today. Second down and 5, and Dilfer throws on the outside to Carl Williams, who's wrestled down by Felipe Sparks. A gain of 7 yards, and that will move the sticks, and the Buccaneers will have a first down. 5 minutes to play in the first half. The Bucs lead 7-0.
You know, Dilfer has 2 picks after you jinxed him, but I got to tell you that he's handling the ball well, and he's getting the ball rid of it quick. He sees it, ball comes out quick.
But he didn't hear me. First down, and Alstott up the middle. Mike Alstott, one of the big power runners in the NFL, very close to a first down. Finally brought down by the free safety, Tito Wooten.
I want you to watch Dave Moore right here. Everything's going to lead with him. And when Alstott becomes a tailback, Dave Moore becomes the lead back. And he took on Bernard Holsey, and then Alstott just cut back inside of him.
It is a first down for the Buccaneers, who are mixing their plays very nicely in this first half. They're on their 46. And they go to Alstott again, and Alstott will move the pile for a couple of yards.
Dick, remember I said in the first quarter, if those three interior guys, George Diaz, Mayberry, and Jim Pine, if they play well, that will go a long way as to how this offense does. And tell you, they're playing very well, because we haven't mentioned Robert Harris or Hamilton all game long.
And this is the consistency that the Buccaneers have shown. 12 rushes, 12 passes, and even balance. Second down and 7 near midfield. And this is a play fake, and the pass to Moore, the tight end. First down, Buccaneers. And Dave Moore, who's doing the bulk of the work at tight end with Jackie Harris ailing, picks up 24 yards into Giant territory.
That is real smart play calling. That's Mike Schuler, the coordinator. He's got them going. Now he goes play action, just slips Moore right out into the flat. Remember, we showed you the play earlier where he does that little half thing and then he goes and tries to take on the lineman. This time he just runs right by him. And you use all that defensive aggressiveness against yourself.
So Moore comes out with 3 catches for 55 yards.
Here's Mike Schuler. He's hiding right here. See?
He doesn't want you to see him.
Hiding behind the post.
Warwick Dunn is back in the lineup. 1st and 10 on the 27, and Dunn gets the call, but he is knocked back, and it was Sam Garnes, the rookie strong safety, who was a 5th-round draft pick, came up to stop Dunn.
Like that Sam Garnes. I think in a few years, Sam Garnes has a big future. I think in a few years he could end up being one of those guys that's a Pro Bowl kind of a player, because he's got the size and he's got the good attitude, and he's also a smart player.
Part of a outstanding rookie crop by the Giants this year. We're down to the 2-minute warning here at Giant Stadium with the Bucs leading 7-0.
It's no surprise that Bill Parcells showed up in that time.
No. Second down and 7. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. The Bucs leave, and they have the ball in Giant territory. And here is Warwick Dunn scampering inside the 20-yard line, and may have and does another Buccaneer first down. Corey Widmer making the tackle.
Right now, it looks to me like the Tampa Bay Bucs have this Giant defense off balance. It also tells me that the offensive line, see Diaz right there on Harris, they're getting that job done. I really felt that the Giant defensive front was better than this offensive line.
And this is a big quarter for the Buccaneers, nearly 100 yards more total yards than the Giants. 1st and 10 at the 17. Warwick Dunn, and a flag is down.
It's going to be a hold against the Tampa Bay Bucs. Jim Pine is getting up real slow, holding his groin. That's not good.
That offensive line has done yeoman work so far in this half. Here's Dale Hamer.
Holding. Number 60 of the offense. 10 yards. Repeat first down.
And it was Jim Pine who has to come off the field.
And that's the groin. You're going to watch number 60 right here. And he's working. He's got the hands up, and I can't tell who's holding who. Okay, there's what he's calling right there. He's going to hold that on Hamilton, and that's what he'll call. But in that whole process, he kicked the other way as Middleton, 73, will come in, kick the other way, and look like he's holding his groin. And if it's a groin pull, that'll do it, because those are awful tough to play with inside.
Middleton is a rookie, picked on the 3rd round, and he's hefty.
Is that what we're calling it now?
First down and 20 after the penalty. Handoff to Warwick Dunn, and wrestled down by Tito Wooten.
Tito Wooten's had himself a real good year. Every time we've watched this Giant team play, and the tapes that we've watched, Tito Wooten's came up and made big plays.
It was Tito Wooten who addressed the Giants after yesterday's practice, a policy that Jim Fossil has used all year.
Well, he had something to say. I mean, Tito's got himself some issues, and one of them is he wants to win.
Second down and 20 on the Giant 27. Dilfer with a quick release intended for Rob Thomas. And let's see, the Giants have intercepted it, and Tito Wooten is running it back. He makes a leap and goes out of bounds. That's the 3rd interception of the game by the Giants.
And now Trent Dilfer is going to say that he was down when he made the catch. And this is the 2nd interception. This is the 3rd of the day, but it's the 2nd one that wasn't Dilfer's fault. Rob Thomas, ball thrown behind him. He keeps going, hit the ground. That ball hit the ground. That hit the ground and bounced up. That should not be an interception. Here, watch the ball. It pops in the air. Now it's going to go right down right there. See that right there? That is definitely no interception. Then Trent Dilfer tries to take him out, but knows that it hit the ground and gets up and turns and runs right to the official. See, and he says, that ball hit the ground. I saw it hit the ground. And old 42 there is shaking his head saying, nah, you're wrong. But guess what?
Dilfer was right.
Dilfer was right.
And a bad call that goes against the Buccaneers. The Giants with a first down on the 28-yard line. Callaway, and incomplete for Callaway, out of bounds.
Rob Thomas comes back. Watch, the ball goes back and pops up in the air, and then Sehorn will knock the ball to the ground. I mean, it's as plain as day right there. Look at that, boink. That boinking, and then he falls on it, and it pops up. And Trent Dilfer was the only guy who saw it and knew it.
And those people who clamor for instant replay would have a good case on that exhibit. That could be Exhibit A.
Well, Tito Wooten's happy.
Second and 10 at the Bucs 28. Still 7-0 Tampa Bay. 19 seconds to go, and a tip in and out of the hands of Charles Way will bring up third down. Coming up on the Dockers Khakis halftime report, we'll bring you scores and highlights from around the league, and our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stat. That's all coming up on the Dockers Khakis halftime report. 15 seconds remain in the first half. Neither team has used a timeout in this first half, and Trent Dilfer still upset over the fact that they let that interception go. Third down and 10. Cannell getting pressure again, going deep, and Amani Toomer out of bounds. He was defended by Donnie Abraham, and it'll bring up fourth down.
The Abraham's mad because he's, as is Derek Brooks, because he's saying that Amani Toomer pushed him out of the way on the other end. Meanwhile, back at the ranch comes a blitz and gets a hit on Cannell. But watch, see the push right there, push right to the back. Now you have to have 2 feet in. There's the catch.
He didn't have either.
It's not even close, and he wasn't pushed. That was a good non-call.
So Brad Daloiso, who missed a 48-yard field goal in the first quarter, will try to get the Giants back in the game with a 45-yard field goal attempt. And this kick is good. So the Giants get a break. And Daloiso's 45-yard field goal makes it 7-3.
This is going on. Not only, he's pointing down to that far end zone. And Dale Hamer is just sitting there listening. And then he's got to listen to Trent Dilfer. Trent Dilfer's right. Trent Dilfer is absolutely right. I mean, there are some calls that are tough, I understand. And we have the benefit of looking at them again. But that one was kind of obvious. You ever notice the officials, they would be good. They just make it official, like one of those little head bob balls. Dolls, they just hit their head and they keep on going up and down. That's what they do on the sideline.
I'll go along with that. Daloiso with the kickoff. And the return by Jerry Ellison. Ellison going outside. Daloiso has a shot at him. And the clock runs out, and Ellison out of bounds. And that'll do it for the first half. Low scoring as we expected. But we have had in the game 5 interceptions, and Daloiso is limping. That's the end of the first half with the score. The Bucs 7, Giants 3. Fox NFL Sunday will continue with the Dockers Khakis halftime report after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Offensive line, the key in their first half.
It really was. And, we said it right from the start. 2 things. First of all, Warwick Dunn had big plays in him, and he was the wild card. And he made one big play, which put the 7 points on. And then the second part of that was those interior 3 who really got the job done in the first half. But now with Jim Pine out, the onus falls on Middleton, the hefty guy, as you said.
All right. He may be bigger than that, but we'll be kind to start. Brad Daloiso will kick off as we start the second half. Riddell Anthony deep in the end zone, and he's going to run it out from 6 yards. Riddell Anthony, the rookie from Florida, is brought down by Brandon Sanders.
Brandon Sanders looks like he hurt his groin again.
And he was hurt coming in to this game. Let's take a look at the halftime statistics, which shows the Tampa Bay having the edge.
Well, and then you can see the 3-2, but the biggest thing really is in the total yards. And to me, that speaks to that offensive line. And so we'll get a good view right now of Middleton to see if he can pick up the slack where Jim Pine left off.
Trent Dilfer, 6 interceptions. In those attempts, he has thrown 3 today. Danny Cannell has been picked off twice for 5 turnovers in the contest. First down, and Warwick Dunn from the 16-yard line gets about 3. Corey Widmer in on the stop. Dunn with 30 yards in 8 carries in the first half, and a very potent duo back there with Warwick Dunn and Mike Allstott.
Well, you can see they've got themselves 40 yards between the two of them, but the biggest thing is that they're patient. Not so much these two guys, but Mike Shula, the coordinator, and Tony Dungy have a plan, and they're patient with it. They don't get out of that plan.
There they are, lining up in the I formation, 2nd and 6. Dunn and Allstott, and it's Dunn finding an opening, and Warwick Dunn gets beyond the 30. It'll be a first down, gain of 11 yards with Wooten and Miller in on the play.
And Mike Allstott's getting up, and he's holding his shoulder as he put himself a nice block. You're going to watch him right here. He's going to be coming right at you. And Jesse Armstead is going to go up there and introduce himself to him. Boom, right there on the shoulder. He does a good job of staying low, and then Dunn is able to come back outside.
Allstott catching the 1-yard touchdown pass from Trent Dilfer to account for the Tampa Bay touchdown.
Yeah, he's going up to the line of scrimmage, giving that left shoulder.
First and 10 at the 31, and Dunn again. He's been a hard worker, spinning his way to the 38-yard line. He has been effective, and Harris brings him down a gain of 7.
Here's the impressive thing about Warwick Dunn. He's not a real big guy, but he's always going forward. Very rarely do you ever see him going backwards after a hit. Most of the time you'll see the contact, and he keeps slow, he keeps his legs moving, and like there, it almost looks like he's moving the pile, pickup of 7.
Allstott comes out of the game, and Dunn is the lone setback on 2nd and 3. Pressure up the middle, and Dunn is stopped short of the first down, might have even lost a yard, and it was Felipe Sparks who had 2 interceptions in the first half, forcing that play.
They're testing that shoulder of Mike Allstott because Jesse Armstead came up and stuffed him in the hole. One thing that Allstott doesn't do well, he's not a powerful blocker, and he doesn't block like he runs. He stops his feet when he blocks. He doesn't stop him when he's running.
4 receivers lined up for the Buccaneers. Jackie Harris in motion, and Dilfer's pass to Rob Thomas, and a first down just shy of midfield. Sparks makes the play, and the Buccaneers continue to move the sticks.
Another good job by that offensive line, and also Warwick Dunn, who's in there in protection. Watch, you're going to come up inside, and Strahan come off the corner, and look who they turned him into. They turned him over to Warwick Dunn. And then Sparks is just hanging back in the zone, and a good job of Rob Thomas of knowing how much to get for the first down. Pushes him off and comes back and makes the play.
First down at 10 at the 49. Play action pass. Dilfer gets hit as he goes downfield, and the Giants have another interception. A flag is down. Seahorn picked it off, but there's a penalty marker down.
Yeah, Jason knows it too.
Riddell Anthony was the receiver who was pushed.
See, he didn't even try to run with it. In fact, he threw the ball out of bounds.
He knew.
Which would stop it right there. He knew it right from the start.
And the penalty is against Seahorn, and with the great speed, that's been the difference in the Buccaneers so far with Dunn and now Riddell Anthony.
Pass interference under defense, number 31, first down.
And see, it's not like he was running away from Riddell Anthony. But what happened, he got to the top side, and Seahorn was going to close on the ball, and he was fine even here. But right there is where he knew he made the mistake. He gave him the push, like, get out of my way, I'm going to make this play. And all he really had to do was be patient because the ball was not well thrown. It was underthrown.
A 42-yard penalty called against the Giants. Very often they call incidental contact. That was not a case of that, despite the fact that Sehorn was looking up for the ball. So it's 1st and goal at the 9, and now the officials confer.
They probably should have had a conference earlier,
right,
when that one official of the back judge saw and waved the thing off and then came back.
First down.
We didn't hear the first few words, but we did hear first down. 1st and goal at the 9. And Matt pointed out Frank Middleton, the rookie, playing in place of the left guard, Jim Pine. 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown in the red zone today. Mike Allstott, hard to stop, and he's in for the touchdown. His 2nd of the game.
Nice lead block. And then this is a perfect example of showing you how Allstott runs. I mean, he never stops his feet. If he would block like that, he'd be devastated. Watch the lead block right here. He's going to come in, boom, right there, and then just runs right through him. Allstott never stops the feet, and he's into the end zone.
That is Mike Allstott's 10th touchdown of the season. His 2nd today, the 1st as a receiver. And Michael Houston on to kick the extra point. So in 3.5 minutes, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have scored. And Houston's kick is good, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have taken a 14-3 lead over the Giants early here in the 3rd quarter.
I want you to watch the nice blocking inside. Nice job by Middleton. Nice job by Mayberry. And then I want you to watch Dave Moore on the backer. Boom, right there. And then it's just a matter of horrendous tackling down the field by Tito Wooten, and Sam Garn just tries to get him from the side, but Allstott squared those shoulders, and he wasn't about to be tackled.
Short kickoff by Michael Houston, and coming up, Eric Pegram on the return of the kick. The Giants have not kicked well, coverage or returns, and it was Michael Houston who came down and made the tackle.
He looked like a real-life football player there.
Yes, he did. You may respect him a lot more now.
I doubt it.
14-yard return, and we'll be right back.
That's a good effort.
3 here in the 3rd quarter, and the key play was the 42-yard pass interference against Jason Sehorn as Mike Allstott went 9 yards up the middle for his 2nd touchdown of the game. And Michael Houston, who has gained the respect of Matt Millen. He has done this before, the special teams tackles, Matt.
Man, there's a stretch.
1st down for Danny Cannell from the 33. Swing pass to Tyrone Wheatley. And very close to the 1st down and may have it. Well, tonight the X-Files captures the early feel of classic horror films with mad scientists and angry mobs. It's a special black and white presentation of the X-Files tonight at 9, 8 Central on Fox. Well, we go back to black and white, and that should lend an air of mystery tonight to the X-Files.
That's supposed to be an excellent show. You have to watch that one.
9-yard pickup, and Charles Wade barrels his way to the 1st down, just short of midfield. The Giant offense, which didn't show much last week in the 7-7 overtime tie against the Redskins, again struggling today against the Bucs.
But the thing I don't understand is you're not going to get outside with these guys, so you got to pound them. Nobody's really just lined up and tried to ram the ball down their throats. Now, part of the thing that Tampa will do is they'll give you some movement. But you have a big physical offensive line. Let's see what they got.
1st down for the Giants on their 49. Cannell getting some time. And his pass is caught inside the 40 by Charles Way. You knew that he'd be the go-to guy sooner or later, and the reception of 13 yards, 1st down to the 38.
That's really the first play that Way's made. And this play is really a function of this offensive line's giving him the time. There's all kinds of time to make this pass and throw it down the field.
Giants trying to up-tempo their offense. Get to the line in a hurry. 1st and 10 at the 38. And the handoff
There's my
to
guy
Charles
Lynch again.
Way, and nothing doing. John Lynch again.
I mean, he's got a good attitude. I mean, that's a good football player. He's got some limitations. He doesn't run real well. But when he sees something and it gets through that brain, he comes up and he's ready to whack it. He's also a sneaky guy, which safeties have to be. You're really playing a cat and mouse game back there with the quarterback.
Of course, he was a former pitcher in the Florida Marlins chain. 2nd and 10 at the 38. Cannell batted down, tried to swing it out, but Chidi Ahanatu was there, and it was intended for Tiki Barber.
Yesterday, we're sitting there talking to Warren Sapp, and he's going back and forth, and all of a sudden his cell phone rings. And it's Jesse Armstead. And he says, "Excuse me, guys, I have a call to make."
Former teammates at University of Miami. Armstead is having a big year for the Giants as the big play linebacker. 3rd down and 10 at the 38, and 3 wide receivers for New York. Andy Cannell fires it, and it's dropped by Eric Pegram. So the Giants struggling on 3rd down now. 1 for 8 on 3rd down attempts, brings up 4th down.
I want you to watch Sapp. Really, this is the function of Culpepper. He lined up in the wrong spot. Culpepper told him where to get, jumps, and then they run a stunt. And then Sapp just comes right between Greg, just kind of throws Greg to the side. When this offensive line has problems is when you make them move their feet. And Sapp did just that. He got Greg going one way and then came back to the outside.
That defensive line can cause problems for that offensive line. Carl Williams is back to return the punt. Brad Maynard will kick it away. Going for the corner, and Maynard does a good job. He has kicked more inside the 20 than any punter in the NFL, and he's done it again. Tampa Bay ball when we come back. Authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New York Giants and the NFL is prohibited. Along with Matt Millen, I'm Dick Stockton, and the Giant defense trying to get this crowd back into the game with the Giants trailing 14-3. First down on the 13-yard line, and Warwick Dunn going up the middle. And a gain of about 5.
They are just pounding them inside. You can see all the things that the Giant defense has done the last 8 games. They've played extremely well, and probably the biggest thing that they've done is played physical when they've had to. But today, at this point, they're getting beat at their own game.
2nd and 4. And Dilfer being chased by Sehorn. Hamilton misses him, and the pass is incomplete. Sehorn and Hamilton both had a shot. And right now, for McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at our Fox Television Center in Hollywood.
Look at Matt, Seattle struggling against Atlanta, but Warren Moon looking good early as he whips this pass to Joey Galloway, tying Moon with Joe Montana, 4th all-time career touchdowns, that being 273. But they're trailing Atlanta by 10. Back to Dick and Matt.
Atlanta's really come on here as of late. Another good job by Dan Reeves.
3rd down and 4. Brent Dilfer, incomplete, intended for Allstott, and the crowd is back in it, and the Giant defense back in it.
Trying to look downfield, and there was no place to go. Nice job on Riedel Anthony by Jason Sehorn. He looked up top, nothing. He came off that and tried to find underneath Carl the Truth Williams. Jesse Armstead knocks him off. And then when there's nothing, see, you look to the left side, nothing there, and he's getting a little bit of pressure by Strahan and forces the bad throw.
So Sean Landeta in the kick, and Amani Toomer goes back for the Giants, who are going to look for good field position if they can. Landeta's first kick went only 32 yards. And this time the former Giant gets off a good one. Toomer at the 32. And he is tripped up at the 38-yard line by Tony Bowie. A flag is down. Just under 8 minutes remain in the third quarter. And the penalty will be against Tampa Bay.
That was the first time that the Giant defense played the way they were supposed to play. They were physical, and what I've been watching here is they haven't been getting off their blocks. They've been getting stuck on blocks. You have to credit the offensive line for the Bucs for that.
Decision as to whether the Giants want Landeta to kick again. He got off a good one, or they'll take the ball at the 37.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 45 of the kicking team went out of bounds and failed to return immediately. 15 yards.
Tyrone Leggett.
Repeat fourth down.
So they'll make him kick it again.
Now the rule says you can get forced out of bounds, but you have to try to get back in a kind of timely manner. I mean, you can't stay out there and use the sideline as your protection. And so once you get out of bounds, they drop the hat. You have to try to get back in. Now you can be forced out of bounds again once you get back in, but you can't use that white area and sideline as your friend.
Now they're going to make Landeta kick from about 6 or 7 yards in the end zone. And this kick not as good. And it goes out of bounds. And a difference of about 20 yards on the penalty for the Giants.
Here's Tyrone Leggett. Now once he's out, he stays out. Now you got to try to get back in. I don't know about that one.
First and 10 at the 44. Danny Cannell. A flag is down, and Cannell goes down at the Bucs 49. That was a coverage sack pending the penalty, which will go against the Giants.
And that was a blitzing linebacker that I think they're going to make the holding call on.
There's Jim Pine, who suffered the injury and knocked him out of the game. The left guard now back in street clothes.
Holding. Number 21 of the offense. Penalties declined. Second down.
Tiki Barber holding. It's declined and a loss on the play of 5 yards.
They came on the blitz. Yeah, there it is. Hardy Nickerson and Tiki Barber just hold on to him. That's the hold. And then look at Cannell looking down the field. There's no place to throw the football. He's looking deep. Charles Mincy's right there on top of him. Actually, there's 3 guys there. No wonder he was looking.
That's the first sack for either team. Second and 15. Cannell stepping up, and the pass incomplete. And it was intended for Callaway, and a good defense again, and a solid hit by John Lynch.
Sapp was just about there, but I got to tell you, this is on Cannell. Cannell's got to get rid of this ball a little quicker. You're going to watch Sapp coming, and then he steps up. That's where the ball had to be thrown. Just a split second earlier. He's working on the backer. Derek Brooks goes down right in front of Lynch. See, the ball had to be thrown. Had to anticipate him coming there.
Floyd Young comes in as an extra defensive back, replacing Rufus Porter on 3rd and 15. Cannell is sacked by Sidi Hahanatu, and the Giants offensive line can't hold him out. A flag is down at the line of scrimmage, and another penalty against the Giants, who have been outplayed right now, you'd have to say, on both lines.
Both sides, I agree.
We have a tripping foul.
It's on.
It's on somebody.
Number 78 of the offense. Penalties declined. Fourth down.
I meant his microphone. It's Greg Bishop.
You know what they did? They took Chris Callaway and stuck him right here. And then 78 was right up here is where the trip was. See right there. He got beat to the outside, so he swung the right foot right inside here and got the trip. The thing that surprises me is their best receiver is Callaway, and they had him in picking up protection.
So the Giants miss an opportunity with good field position, and Brad Maynard is punting to Carl Williams. Williams on the 10-yard line. Gets a second chance. Jason Sehorn trying to grab him, and he goes out of bounds. So a good recovery and change of directions by Carl Williams on a 22-yard punt return. We'll be back. Who won today, and the Redskins, who lost today, would be one game, and the Giants, next 3 games, all division encounters.
Yeah, they got Philly, Washington, and Dallas. That's going to be a tough road to hoe.
And the Redskin game in 2 weeks on Saturday here on Fox.
And Bobby Hoying giving that offense a little bit of life down there in Philadelphia.
Made the most of his opportunity. Buccaneers with the ball, 1st and 10 at the 32. And Warwick Dunn. Look at Warwick Dunn slip and slide his way close to the first down. Now in the NFC Central, a pivotal game today for the Buccaneers, with Green Bay and Minnesota playing tomorrow night in Minnesota. Tampa Bay could go into a first-place tie if the Vikings beat the Packers. In any event, Tampa Bay, which has Green Bay next week, right in the thick of things.
It's going to be amazing. We got a couple of humdingers coming up.
Yes, we do.
And that's what this is all about. Comes down to the end of the season, and teams have to play their best. And I think we're seeing our best football right now also.
2nd and 1. And they go to Dunn. And Jesse Whitmer makes the play, but not before Warwick Dunn picks up a first down. Now, it has been night and day for Dunn. The first 6 games, look at those numbers. He has struggled the last 6, but today, Warwick Dunn,
not struggling.
Not at all. 70 yards, and he has been indeed the wild card for this team.
Man, I tell you, did you see the way he got that first down? I mean, he's hit and still goes forward. And that amazes me because, look at that, he's not a real big guy.
5.5 minutes to go in the 3rd. First down on the 44-yard line, and here's Dunn. And Dunn maybe a yard, and a flag goes down. Tackled by Armstead.
Dunn's not getting up real fast, is he? Getting up a little slow.
He has been durable, and a face mask call against the Giants, and that will, well, it depends whether it's 5 yards or
15. 10, right, you're right. Jesse Armstead came across the
Number 98 of the defense.
first down anyway.
5 yards.
I don't know if he had it with his hand. With their call, it looks like his forearm was in his face. Boom, there's the forearm. Oh, he had a hold of it. Good call.
5-yard penalty. And Dunn is still shaken up. We'll be right back. Mike Allstott tries to get a second shot at it, and nothing doing. Tampa Bay Buccaneers struggling here against both the Giants and the Jets. And as you would have it, they have to play both teams within 3 weeks. They're 0-4 against the Jets, 0-5 against the Giants, but leading here 14-3 to try to break that string. And remember the temperature, which started at 45 degrees. They've never won when it's 42 or below, but it wasn't when we started today.
There's the magic mark. It's at 42, and they turn into a pumpkin.
2nd and 4. Thanksgiving is over, though. Pass incomplete, intended for Allstott. It'll be 3rd down and 5.
It's like right now they're in a little bit of a pumpkin waltz. Right? I can't tell if it's a combination of the Giants have picked their defense up, or right now the Bucs have kind of hit a little bit of a lull because they haven't been getting a push on the line of scrimmage, and the ball hasn't been coming out as quick.
Brent Dilfer with 3rd and 4. Jerry Ellison is in at running back. And Dilfer, flag is down, and the pass intended for Rob Thomas, and the pass is caught at the 40-yard line of the Giants, but a penalty marker down, and holding will be the call against the Bucs.
Dilfer getting up slow.
Hands to the face. Number 70 of the offense. 10 yards. Repeat third down.
It's Jason Odom, that right offensive tackle, number 70, working on Strahan. I missed something there. That's a good job by Strahan to get in the corner.
But the penalty against Tampa Bay. Third down and 14. Dilfer getting pressure, and he dumps it off to Jerry Ellison, and Ellison is tripped up. Scott Gallion was in the vicinity, and that will bring up fourth down, and Jason Sehorn as well. So the Giants forced the Buccaneers to kick, and a shoe got loose by Ellison. So the Giants will get the ball back, but they have not managed to muster much of an offense against Tampa Bay today. Landeta punting for the third time. Amani Toomer back deep. Winding down to 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Toomer at the 9, and he's going to lose a yard, and great hustle by Jeff Gooch. So the Giants will have a long way to go. Well, Tuesday, Fox presents a star-studded salute to 6 of television's most popular comic geniuses in the funniest and most touching comedy event of the year. The American Comedy Honors, Tuesday at 8, 7 Central, right here on Fox. Well, in this kind of a game for the Giants, who have not had any offense, the defensive backs have more yardage, 121 on interception returns, 3 of them, than the 78 passing yards thrown by Cannell to his receiver. Charles Way going outside, and he gives the Giant offensive spark, going out of bounds, and a flag is down after a gain of 17. John Lynch pushed him out of bounds, but a penalty on top.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 47 on the defense.
And it's on John Lynch, and they'll tack on 15.
Just getting to the outside. He's able to turn the corner. Something that not very many running backs do against this defense. Oh, I see. They're just going to call the hit after he's in that white. See, he's out of bounds right there. Lynch had to pull off, and he did.
Good call.
It's a good call.
Giants with a first down on their own 42-yard line, trailing 14-3. Here is Wheatley off the left side. Tyrone Wheatley still going. And a flag down again, and another one goes down as John Lynch makes the play on Wheatley after a 38-yard run off the left side.
See the thumbs up Charles Way is giving? He should give himself one.
And another penalty against the Buccaneers.
Personal foul. Face mask. Number 47 on the defense.
See that Charles Way took on the backer and cut him at the hole, which allowed Wheatley to get down the sideline. You can see the face mask right there.
So back-to-back personal fouls called against John Lynch of the Buccaneers, and the Giants threatening, trailing by 11. And coming in, the Buccaneers average the fewest penalties per game in the league. First and goal at the 10. The pitch to Tiki Barber, and Barber is going to lose a couple of yards thanks to Derek Brooks.
Really, thanks to John Lynch. Lynch makes that play completely. Brooks makes the tackle, but Lynch is the guy who does it. And he comes flying up, and he has to take on Charles Way. Remember I told you earlier in the game about them having some collisions. This time, he just comes flying up. Watch Charles Way right here. And then Lynch is going to come up, bing, and takes the whole thing out. Forces that pile, and then Barber has nowhere to go.
This is the big confrontation. The Giants leading the league in red zone offense, and the Buccaneers topping the league in red zone defense. Second and goal from the 12. And Cannell's pass out of the way, intended for Callaway.
Real nice by Brooks.
John Lynch and Derek Brooks. It was Brooks who got his hand on the pass.
See, Brooks has such great speed and athletic ability that he can play backer, but he almost has cornerback or safety skills. You know, watch him right here, number 55. And look, see, they have such confidence in him that they'll put him out on a receiver. And he gets his hands on him, perfectly done.
Brooks has an interception today, Matt, and 2 for the season, so you're right. He plays like a DB.
And the other thing about him is he's got a big upside. This kid's very talented. He's only going to get better.
He just signed a 5-year extension this week for the Buccaneers, and that was a fine investment for Tampa Bay. Giants here, and there's been their best drive of the day, helped by 2 personal foul penalties. 78 yards so far on this drive. The previous 7 total 71. John Lynch with both of the personal fouls on this drive for the Bucs. 3rd down and goal from the 12-yard line. 3 wide receivers for Cannell. Danny Cannell getting rushed from behind, and the pass caught by Eric Pegram, and he's not going anywhere. That'll bring up 4th down. So the Giants had 1st and goal at the 10 and lost yardage on their next couple of plays. John Lynch, Reagan Upshaw combined.
Well, you had your question about the confrontation of who would win. It's pretty clear that the Tampa Bay defense won this one. And how they did it on that 3rd down was they were just going to take away the end zone and make them have to throw underneath. And that's just smart football.
Brad Daloiso has a streak of 34 consecutive field goals inside 40. This is a 30-yard attempt. Daloiso 1 for 2 thus far today. And the kick by Daloiso is good. So with 35 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter, the Bucs lead now cut to 14-6.
Got to get the carpet kickers and kick those things back.
Daloiso will kick off, and Riddell Anthony is the deep man for the Buccaneers, and the kick goes into the end zone. Anthony will run it out. Riddell Anthony still on his feet as the Giants try to strip the ball away. And the Giants having trouble all year in kickoff coverage, and a flag is down. Conrad Hamilton finally made the tackle after a 41-yard return.
That's going to be a hold against Tampa Bay.
They're going to bring it back. You're right.
There's been a lot of flags in this game. It's been very un-Tony Dungy-like play football.
Holding. Number 50 on the return. 10 yards. 1st down.
Jeff Gooch, the backup linebacker. Watch him, number 50, working on 58. Doug Coleman gets his hands on him and held on. See the hold right there, and that's what they're going to call. And really, they latch on, and if it's seen, usually at the point of the play is where they'll call that.
And that cancels out a 41-yard return by Anthony, and the Bucs will have to start this drive from the 12-yard line. There's the penalty story, virtually even. But as far as critical penalties are concerned, well, both sides have been guilty of that too.
That was
in the 1st half.
That was a big one right there, because that had given Tampa Bay some decent field position.
1st down at the 12, the final seconds of the 3rd quarter, and Mike Allstott is stuffed. And that may be the last play of the 3rd with Corey Widmer in on the play. And that will be the last play. That is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 14, the New York Giants 6. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages from your takes is evident on the sideline. Felipe Sparks.
Yeah, Felipe Sparks takes some time to pray, and then after he's done praying, he says, okay, boys, let's go headbutt everybody. God, give me the strength to headbutt my entire defense. Amen.
He went from one extreme to the other. Start of the 4th quarter. 2nd and 9. Brent Dilfer has some time, and he dumps it off to Dunn, and he is dumped by Jesse Armstead, and this crowd going to get into it some more. It'll be 3rd and long.
And Dick, they talked about being able to have this matchup, Riddell Anthony on Jason Sehorn, and it's one they haven't been able to do. One time they got themselves a pass interference call, but even then, Sehorn had the coverage. Riedel Anthony has 0 catches today.
3rd down and 13. Giants putting pressure on Dilfer, and Dilfer flag is down.
That should be a safety.
It would be a safety.
Should be.
Conrad Hamilton with the blitz,
and that's
what it'll be.
Now Dale Hamer is not, he's not sure.
He hasn't called it yet.
But if he asks me, it's got to be a safety.
Central grounding. Number 12. In the end zone. Safety.
There it is.
That's on Conrad Hamilton. And you can mark that one and put that in the box of John Fox, the defensive coordinator.
And the Giants get 2 points and now trail 14-8.
You know, watch him again. Remember I said you always check the slot. And then once he's in this, there's 2 things going on there. So he avoided it. He's inside the box, and he threw the thing away. And there's no receiver down here. So he's got to throw that. And if there's a holding call or if there's intentional grounding in the end zone, that becomes a safety.
So the Giants get 2 points and trail by 6 and will get the ball back. It'll be a free kick by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to the Giants. And Trent Dilfer has had several times tonight where he has been upset with several calls. This time,
that's a good call
on his own sideline.
He should be upset at himself for just because he just wheeled and hummed that thing outside.
Conrad Hamilton with a big play, and John Fox talking to him.
Yeah, you can see John Fox was just there. Here's Conrad Hamilton. See, he knows he has to make a play. And then because they brought Jesse Armstead to the inside, that took Warwick Dunn and forced him to have to block inside, and then that opened the outside to Conrad Hamilton. And then really it's just a bad decision by the quarterback.
Sean Landetta will...
He just said, you know, he's going right there. He's saying, you know what? Felipe Sparks, all that praying you did on the sideline worked.
Dale Hamer had to make sure before he signaled a safety. So Landetta will kick, and Amani Toomer back for the Giants. Landetta does not get off a good one, and the kick brought down by Tyrone Wheatley on the return. Somebody lost a shoe in all of that. And let's see if there's a fumble.
No, but clearly, Dick, momentum has swung to the other side. The New York Football Giants have it on their side, and their defense has picked their game up.
As it has all season long, and that was the case last week against the Redskins in the overtime game when the offense could not manage anything against Washington's great cornerbacks. So the defense has been the hero for the Giants all year. And they've got good field position. They will start from their 44-yard line, trailing by 6.
Well, we knew it would be a defensive game, and this one is coming down to. Now let's see if Tampa Bay defense can answer.
And the handoff to Charles Way, and he'll lose about 4 yards on that play. And once again, the Tampa Bay defensive line and their linebackers outplaying the Giant offensive line through most of the afternoon.
Well, they just came with a blitz. Monty Kiffin, their defensive coordinator, seeing what's going on one side, says, hey, I can go tit for tat. Let me give you a blitz right there, and we're going to set up this 2nd and long. Trying to put you in a position. Guys, watch it. There's Monty Kiffin right there, the defensive coordinator. The mad professor. That's what he reminds me of.
One of the more animated coordinators in the league. Here is Cannell with Way up the middle. Not much yardage there. They'll need about 8 yards for the first down as Hardy Nickerson and Jeff Gooch combined to make the play.
And also Brad Culpepper. The one thing that both these defenses do very well is they turn after the ball's thrown as the defensive lines turn and get to the football. They do as good a job as anybody I've seen in the league of getting everybody to the ball.
3rd down and 7. Giants on their 47-yard line. Giants only 1 for 10 converting 3rd down attempts. Here comes pressure from the secondary, a whistle. And normally that means a false start against the offense, and that is the case here. It'll be 3rd and 12.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 72 of the offense. 5 yards. Still third down.
Left tackle Roman Oben, so third down and 12 will be coming up for the Giants, making their task that much more difficult. Giants have not had it when it's come to third downs the last 2 games. 3rd and 12 here out of the shotgun. Danny Cannell has Callaway trying to get to the sticks, and I don't believe he made it. Shy by a yard and a half. Derek Brooks and Floyd Young, the extra back, prevented Callaway from getting the first down.
That's just good defense. And now Tyrone Wheatley comes running on saying, hey, we're going for it. He's pumped up.
They are. They've got Pierce.
Well, because what Jim Fossil knows is that his defense is on right now. And so he's going to roll the bones just like John Fox, their defensive coordinator, did.
So here's a 4th and 1 coming up. And they run it, and they're not going to make it.
That right there was John Lynch.
Tyrone Wheatley did not make it, and once again, the defenses have ruled in this game for both sides, and Lynch making the big play, and the Buccaneers will get the ball.
Dick, you
on
see
down.
how he did that? You see, he saw that. Just what I was telling
Yes.
you. Once he sees it, he's like a Scud missile. I mean, he just comes in and goes right to the play.
Like a flash.
Excellent defense by Lynch.
So the Buccaneers will get the ball back near midfield, leading 14-8. Lynch, who's been all over the field defensively for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, leading the charge. And the Bucs with the ball on their 48-yard line after stopping the Giants on 4th and 1. Brent Dilfer and a whistle and a penalty.
More flags here today.
You get the feeling there have been more penalties than not.
Rather snap. False start. The left guard. 5 yards.
That was George Diaz. I want you to watch right inside. Here's Lynch, who's going to walk up, and he has to have as good eyes as a running back. And then Hardy Nickerson, 56, boom, takes on Charles Way. And when he takes it on, Lynch comes from the side, and you watch it. Right there, boom, see the eyes, right to the face. Can't get any better than that. Well-played team defense, led by Lynch.
1st and 15, Warwick Dunn is checked back in the game for the Bucs. And Warwick Dunn gets the call. He's hit and drives forward to the original line of scrimmage. And right now, from McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at our Fox Television Center in Hollywood.
Dick and Matt, Seattle had just drawn within 3 of Atlanta, but look at what Atlanta did on the ensuing kickoff. Byron Hanspart, 93 yards to pay dirt, slipping and sliding. Falcons, as Matt and you indicated, playing well down the stretch, looking to go 4-1 in the month of November. Back to Dick and Matt.
And trying to play spoiler against Seattle's slim playoff hopes. 2nd down and 11. Brent Dilfer has plenty of time. He's going deep for Anthony and is tipped away by Felipe Sparks. What a game he's played today with 2 interceptions.
That time, he threw it to the right spot. Again, they went that play action. They're going to try to turn it into a foot race and using Riedel Anthony to the other side. Now, you got to throw the ball up here. Sparks, again, you know, that ball again, to be honest with you, it came up too high. It needs to be thrown out where Anthony can run to it. Sparks has had a big day all day long. He's had himself 2 picks, and that pick right there was basically the same pattern we just saw.
And don't forget, Sparks had 2 interceptions last week against the Redskins as well. 3rd down and 11. Here is Warwick Dunn. And a flag goes down. Dunn is stopped short of the first down by Percy Ellsworth, but the penalty. And it will be a call against Tampa Bay.
Holding. Number 61 in the offense.
Tony Mayberry, the center.
3rd down.
So it'll still be 3rd down and long.
Well, the one thing that's worked well for them all game long has been Warwick Dunn. That time they caught the left hand to the shoulder of Keith Hamilton. Look at that. That's unbelievable. They've been averaging about 5 penalties a game. They've had 6 in the last 7 minutes.
A lot of unusual aspects to this game that we didn't see throughout the rest of the year. 3rd and 21 now. Brent Dilfer has a lot of time and deep, and a flag goes down. Rob Thomas was run into by Felipe Sparks, and that's the call.
Well, it is. You see when he picked the flag up and put it right to that spot, that means it's going to that spot.
And John Fox is livid. It will be a Tampa Bay first down.
Number 22 to defense. First down.
And will give the Bucs a first down in Giant territory. A critical call at this juncture.
I didn't know which way this was going to go. Rob Thomas working up top, off the jam, working to the sideline. I used the sideline as your defender. He went with a double move, and there's some. It's tough to see from that spot, but the official's standing right there, and he had a clear vision to it.
So a 30-yard penalty marked off, and the Bucs with a first down on the Giants 30-yard line. Still plenty of time remaining here in the 4th quarter. Warwick Dunn is out of there now, and Allstott is the running back. And Allstott runs into the pile and gets a couple.
Tackled by the pile. Moved the pile.
He did that. Jim Fossil, whose offense has taken on a more conservative fashion with the injuries to Ike Hilliard and Tiki Barber, who has been in and out of the lineup. But the defense has been the key for the Giants, and they need to be the key again here if the Giants are to come back. 2nd and 8. Handoff is to Warwick Dunn.
He's amazing.
And look how the Warwick Dunn
goes forward.
Yep.
He gets hit, and he keeps on going forward.
First down, Tampa Bay.
I got to tell you something, Dick. The offensive line, we said at the start of the game, they have done a tremendous job. You see Middleton right there. Mayberry's done a good job. Jason Odom has done an excellent job. And then you can see how he runs with his pads. See, when he gets through, he has a nice low pad level, and he accelerates into the defender.
Middleton, the rookie, in for the injured Jim Pine at left guard. First down and 10 at the 19 of the Giants. An audible call by Dilfer, and Dunn dives forward for a couple of yards. Tito Wooten forcing the play from the secondary, limiting Dunn to a gain of 1.
Jason Odom is the player who I think has played very well today, because he's going against one of the better pass rushers in the league, and he has more than held his own. He's not given up anything. He's been struggling this year. He's had some problems at times. He's going against Michael Strahan, and really, he's pitching a shutout.
2nd and 9. And here's Dunn, gets Allstott blocking, and Dunn is going to score. Touchdown, Tampa Bay.
Oh, they're going to say it's on the 6-inch line.
His knee touched, I guess, at the 6-inch line, although he flew into the end zone.
I think his knee touched in the end zone. Maybe the ball hit right there. But whatever, the official was right there to see it. He's standing on the line. Remember, the ball has to break the plane. Nice job here by Allstott of sealing back inside. And another job by Dave Moore. And here's the hit, Vink. That's a good call.
Yes.
That's a good call. It's where the ball is.
The ball was
it's not where the body is. It's where the ball is.
He got spun and turned around.
See that? He's going in backwards.
Good call.
Didn't know whether he's coming or going.
But it's 1st and goal at the 1. And there is Eric Rett. And flag is down. Eric Rett did not get in, but there is a penalty.
There's 35 flags thrown on that. There's been a ton of flags today.
And a good look at the flag, as a matter of fact.
Flags. I hate them.
That's the best look I've ever
Illegal
seen.
substitution. Number 29 of the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat first down.
How do you see? And that's going to go down to the 3-inch line. You see Corey Whitmer is fixing that goal line we were talking about. See, it's where the ball is.
Yes.
And the ball is down right there. It was down on about, bink, right there. See, right on about the 3-inch line. There's the hit, reversed, ball down. Here's the plane. Here's the plane. No, he's hitting right here, and so they're calling that. And that's awful. That's awful.
Well, that's going to disappoint the rotisserie players who wanted Warwick Dunn to score.
The only rotisserie I know is when it's on a chicken.
Yep. Trying to figure that. First and goal. And here is Eric Rett, and he goes over for the touchdown. Eric Rett, who a forgotten man, as we mentioned, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Big ground gainer, but he's there in case they need him, in case of injury, but he'll score the touchdown for the Buccaneers, and he casts a spell of silence all over Giant Stadium, and a lot of the fans start to make their way to the exits.
And a controversial call on that Rob Thomas interference with Felipe Sparks is sending these people out.
Giants trail now by a score of 20-8, and the Buccaneers will go for a 2-point conversion. That is the second touchdown for Eric Rett this year. And now the Giants are going to call a timeout. They weren't ready for the 2, and that is a critical timeout because the Giants are left with only 1. To go in the fourth, the Bucs lead 20-8. The Giants forced to call a timeout. They were not ready for the Bucs to try the 2-point conversion. John Fox with a quick word for Felipe Sparks, who goes back into the huddle. Tampa Bay Buccaneers in command of this one with 7:22 to go.
And given the way that the Giants don't play very well behind, that'd be a pretty safe cushion of points.
You're absolutely right. Well, here's the 2-point conversion, and Dilfer's pass knocked down by Jason Sehorn. It was intended for Carl Williams. So the 2-point conversion fails, but the Bucs get a touchdown and lead 20-8. The 2-point conversion failed, and as you pointed out, Matt, the Giants haven't been effective coming from behind, nor has Tampa Bay this year, but the Bucs have not had to be concerned with that today.
No, they haven't. And they can thank that offensive line, who I think has really played well today.
Here's Eric Pegram returning the kick for the Giants, and he brings it out to the 27-yard line. Well, next week we'll have a Fox doubleheader and several big games on tap. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. The Giants will go against the Eagles, and the Giants may have only a 1-game lead over Philadelphia. Packers and Bucs could be playing for first place in the NFC Central. And then the Minnesota Vikings, who are in the thick of it in that NFC Central against the 49ers, who were thrashed at Kansas City today. And the Redskins against the Cardinals. So many important games down the stretch of this year. First and 10 at the 27. Here's Danny Cannell going underneath to Charles Way, and it was Derek Brooks who grabbed a hold of him, and a gain of 8 yards. But the clock starting to work. 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and the Giants, remember, leave only 1 timeout on the board. Second and 2. Cannell again underneath to Wheatley, but he wasn't anywhere near the sticks.
Hardy Nickerson
lost. Well, they gained maybe 1 yard on the play, and you're right, Nickerson. So they'll be shy by a yard.
You know, the other thing that's kind of been lost, there's that offensive line that's really turned into good jobs. George Diaz right there, 64, and then Jason Moldham, 70. Tony Mayberry right there, and then Rhett, 32 also. The thing that's been lost is kind of a pace that the Giants had early in the season, and they've gotten away from that a little bit.
It sure has. 3rd down and 1. 4 wide receivers. Giants appear confused a bit on offense, and Cannell's pass is incomplete, intended for Patton. So it'll be 4th down and 1, and you know the Giants trailing by 12 will go for it on 4th down. They tried earlier and failed earlier against the Tampa Bay defense.
Jim Fossil was looking for big plays today. He's looking for what he called strikeability. And frankly, they don't have strikeability players. They don't have Ike Hilliard. They lost him. The receivers don't run very well. in terms of speed, and Tiki Barber is their one guy who can strike you, and he's been helped.
4th and 1. And Cannell is going to run, and he's going to get the first down. Danny Cannell gets the first down to keep it going for the Giants with under 6 minutes in the 4th quarter remaining.
When you want to try to get strikeability, the first thing you have to try to do is be able to push your defense down the field. They don't have any speed, real speed, to be able to push anything.
From the 39-yard line, the swing pass incomplete to Barber, and it was Derek Brooks who made sure Barber wasn't going to do much.
And he's limping off, so there goes more strikeability out the window.
They have aggravated that hamstring, which has been a problem for him since early in the season.
I'll tell you who's got strikeability, Derek Brooks, 55, and also Hardy Nickerson. Because when they see something that's legal to hit, they strike it.
They sure do.
That's good strikeability.
4 wide receivers on 2nd down and 10. Cannell flagged down, and the pass is not caught by Kevin Alexander. He was open, but a penalty flag is thrown, and
it's either a hold or hands to the face.
Hands to the face against the Giants. There is Tiki Barber over on the Giants sideline, and
Illegal hands to the face. Number 78 of the offense.
Greg Bishop.
10 yards. Repeat 2nd down.
Greg Bishop, number 78. You can see him right here. And actually, it's right there. See what that is on Brad Culpepper? It's just a face mask.
Right.
That's a big old hand he got in his face, too.
200 yards of penalties, 19 of them called. 2nd down and 20, back to the 29 following the penalty. And a straight pass, and the pass nearly intercepted by Derek Brooks.
That was a good job by Lance Scott of drilling Brooks.
Very dangerous pass attempted by Cannell.
You know, an observation this year that I've seen, I think defenses have really gotten good at defending screen passes. Used to be that you could always get a screen pass in passing situations. But right now, that's a good play. I mean, an inadvertent play. He didn't want to hit him. But I think defenses, because of the 3-step drop and teams getting rid of the ball so fast, when you start to feel a guy letting you go, you know something's up.
3rd down and 20. Andy Cannell has a long way to go. Another flag is thrown, and Donnie Abraham breaks up that pass intended for Toomer. But there's another penalty, and we'll have another illegal hands to the face call against the Giants.
That's the Eric Williams rule. Remember a few years ago in the championship game, Eric Williams on Reggie White, and he kept on jamming him in the face, and they really started enforcing it after that.
Illegal hands to the face. Number 78 of the offense.
Again, it's Greg Bishop.
Decline. 4th down.
So it's 4th down, and the Giants can't even attempt a 4th down play with 20 yards needed. And this crowd, those that have remained very silent as the Giants coming in against a Tampa Bay club that they thought they were equal with. Mirror images, we said, coming in, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have shown that the mirror image ends with the confrontation.
Well, and the 2 areas that we said had to come up big for Tampa if they were going to win was their interior of their offensive line, and they got that done. And then the wild card was Warwick Dunn. Heck, he's had himself 100 yards of rushing.
Has he ever? Good kick by Maynard, sending Carl Williams back to his 15. Carl Williams still going, picking his way. And Carl Williams with a terrific return. 39 yards. Finally knocked down by Brad Maynard. We'll be right back. East contenders. We don't have Dallas in there right now. They're in 4th place. The Giants have to play 3 division teams. And the team that really benefited on Thanksgiving weekend, the Philadelphia Eagles, because the way it appears, all the other teams, the Cowboys, Redskins, and Giants, going down to defeat, Matt.
I think also the Eagles are starting to find themselves a little bit offensively with Bobby Hoying. And then keep your eyes on Detroit.
First down for the Buccaneers on the Giant 46. Warwick Dunn, as you mentioned, going over 100 yards for the 4th time this year, and the first time since the 6th week of the season. He gets 4 more and has 109.
If I were to pick an MVP of the game, and it's just one guy, you say Warwick Dunn. But I have to pick the most valuable players, and really the facet of the game that's been the difference is the offensive line working on the defensive front. And so I think you see Paul Gruber, 74, and Diaz, 64, Mayberry 61, Middleton, and then Odom on the other side. I think those are the guys who got the job done today.
2nd and 6 at the 42. Eric Red is coming at running back, but Mike Allstott still moving the pile. Gets a hit from Garnes, but not before he picks up a Buccaneer first down. And again, you have to emphasize Middleton, because when you make a replacement, put a rookie in for Jim Pine, the left guard, who went out, and they never lost a beat up front.
Well, from watching the tapes, what I thought was a big plus was Michael Strahan working on Jason Odom. And I thought Odom won that battle. And then Diaz inside was replaced by Middleton, and that was a spot that they also won along with Mayberry. I just think the right side of that offensive line really played well.
Winding down to 3.5 minutes remaining in the ball game, and Allstott picking up 1 yard on the play. Well, tonight on Fox starts with Annabelle's Wish, followed by The Simpsons, King of the Hill, and a special black and white presentation of the X-Files, all tonight on Fox.
Dick, the other side to that is defensively for the New York Giants. I didn't think they did a good job of getting off the blocks today. I thought they were physical when they had to be, but then they didn't come off the blocks, which allowed Allstott and Dunn to be able to make some plays.
Tampa Bay won the battle in the trenches today. 2nd down and 9. And here's Warwick Dunn, and he doesn't get much. Jesse Armstead is there to make the play as the whistle finally blows. The Giants did not score a touchdown to this point. They have 2 Brad Daloiso field goals and a safety. Danny Cannell has not been able to get the Giants into the end zone. And a timeout called by the Giants. That's their final timeout of the game. Danny Cannell, 14 of 31 for 117 yards and 2 interceptions in the first quarter.
So I think the biggest thing that you do when you play the New York Giants is you still defend them for the run and make that quarterback try to beat you.
And that's been the formula, the recipe that teams have used lately. Well, today's game was produced by Richard Zients and directed by Artie Kempner. The studio was produced by Scott Ackerson and Nancy Bernstein and directed by Bob Levy. The senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown, and the executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. And, of course, as usual, we want to thank Dean Walker and his outstanding technical crew, once again doing a terrific job. And, of course, the guys up front with us, Chris Visser, Dave Corris in the booth. Well, you're talking about the offensive line. No sacks allowed today on top of all the other things. 3rd down and 9, and here is Warwick Dunn off tackle, and he's got another first down. Warwick Dunn continues to have a glorious afternoon. Felipe Sparks on the stop and add 11 to Warwick Dunn's total.
Watch Warwick Dunn and watch how low he is to the ground. And then watch how he makes himself small at the point of impact. So here it comes, bing. See how small he gets? I think he kind of got his head down there low, and Sparks came in.
Well, Warwick Dunn this week, talk about Thanksgiving and what people contribute. Pay the down payments to help low-income families become the first-time homeowners to enjoy Thanksgiving. Great job done by Warwick Dunn this week. We'll be right back. 2-minute warning. Home in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line. And you want to talk about the things you do that really count on Thanksgiving. But to pay the down payment for a home for people who can't afford a home, what's better than that?
Yeah, not just once or twice. I mean, he dropped down a couple of down payments. And, I mean, the man's ability is only exceeded by his ability to give more. And I think that's a great talent.
Felipe Sparks sees a big afternoon for him go by the boards as the Giants will come up empty. 2 more interceptions for him. 2nd down and 11. And with the Giants out of timeouts, the Buccaneers will just run out the clock. So the NFC Central Division, and a big one tomorrow is between Green Bay and Minnesota. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers 9-4. If the Vikings beat the Packers tomorrow night, there'll be a 3-way tie in the NFC Central. If not, Tampa Bay will be a game behind the Packers, who they play next week. And in the NFC East, with the Giants And the Redskins losing today. The Eagles get the big advantage. They're tied with the Redskins, a game behind the Giants, who will play Philadelphia, Washington, and Dallas in the remainder of their season. So it's coming down, as it always does, to the final week. And the Buccaneers will celebrate their first winning season since 1982. And also get their first win in New York. They got a lot of those monkeys off their back today, Matt.
They're just lucky it was above 42 degrees. That's all I got to say.
It was 45 when they started. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will go 9-4. The Giants 7-5-1 as the final seconds tick off, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers come to New York and defeat the New York Giants by a score of 20-8. And right now, we're going to send it down to Kurt Menefee, who's with Tony Dungy. Kurt?
All right, Coach, this was a big win, probably the biggest game your youngest team has had to play. You got to be pretty pleased with the way they played.
I am. We had to come in here against a very, very tough team, and we made some mistakes that could have caused us to fold, but we hung in there, and I was very proud of them.
What about the way your offensive line played today? 100 yards per done and lots of pass protection for Dilfer.
Well, I think they got a little tired of hearing about the New York defense and how poor our offense had played last week. And they came out and did a good job against a tremendous defense.
And, of course, this sets up a first-place matchup against Green Bay next week.
Well, it'll be fun to play Green Bay for first place. I'm sure the Tampa Bay area will be hopping. We're looking forward to seeing everybody at the airport.
All right, thanks a lot. Congratulations, Coach. That's Coach Tony Dunn. Back to you, Dick.
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. And our Energizer play of the game, and talk about the offensive line. It was so much in evident on Mike Allstott's 9-yard touchdown run.
It really was. And if you look at that, you could just see that the blue jerseys are going backwards and the white jerseys are going forward. And once that happens, Allstott just pounds it in.
And that gave the Bucs a 14-3 lead early in the third quarter, and they went from there. We'll be back to Giant Stadium in just a moment.